what we will be dealing with in the next couple of days. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Senator Ledama. Senator Ledama. Order. Order. Senator Chirange. And I need Senator Kajwang. Okay. The mandate of the Senate is to prosecute this matter at the plenary. However, the Senate, in its own wisdom, can decide to form a committee. Yes. Senator Chirange.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose the motion from the onset on the 3 reasons. One, Mr. Speaker, the trophy and the defenders of devolution today in the afternoon, Mr. Speaker, sir, goes to the great members of County Assembly of Meru. Mr. Speaker, I hope many MCAs should benchmark with the wonderful work that the MCAs of Meru are doing. They have been very consistent and patient, and I want to laud them for taking the bold step, Mr. Speaker. You know, unfortunately, governors have made most of our MCAs as their partners in bad governance in counties, Mr. Speaker. This should be a warning to many county governors that when you have MCAs who play their rightful role of oversight, Mr. Speaker, then it is very important. So I allowed, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, there are reasons as to why Standing Order number 80 and Section 33 is very clear. Mr. Speaker, when we prosecute either by committee or by plenary, Mr. Speaker, I want to invite most of the colleagues who have never had the privilege and rare opportunity of prosecuting to plenary, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order, Senator Eddy?
Freeze my time.
Mr. Speaker, I rise with the point of order of limiting debates. Mr. Speaker, the Senator for Nandi has just prosecuted on this matter conclusively, stood in front of this House and gave a judgment on the work of MCAs and on the personality of the governor for Meru, which in his own wisdom, what you read as charges that were forwarded before us, the governor stands guilty. Mr. Speaker, the debate that we are having here is whether we are going to prosecute these matters on principle in committee or in the plenary. Is Senator Cherargei in order, Mr. Speaker, to make a judgment on substantive issues that we are yet to discuss as a House, Mr. Speaker? And Mr. Speaker, you in your ruling, Mr. Speaker, I find this one grossly disorderly, Mr. Speaker, given that you had given Senator Cherargei a lot of warnings, Mr. Speaker, and I think that he's doing this deliberately, Mr. Speaker, perhaps to actually disregard the orders that you're giving, Mr. Speaker. I think you should find him in order, Mr. Speaker, if it pleases you so, and throw him out of this House, Mr. Speaker, because he's reducing this House to a mere theater of jokes, Mr. Speaker. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chirange, I gave the guidance when I was giving the communication. What is before you is a motion to pass a resolution for special committee. Either you're for it or you're not for it. The substance of the impeachment cannot be the subject matter of any senator's contribution here. It's either you oppose him and you give the reasons why you think the plenary will be a better forum to handle this matter. Kindly avoid delving into the substance of the impeachment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm well guided, but in the words of Burning Spear, there is a saying that we are not all that stupid, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to borrow in the words of Lucky Dube, Mr. Speaker, the reggae, that justice, fairness, and social equality should be the cornerstone, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the reason I'm saying is we need to ensure that there are principles of natural justice. Mr. Speaker, plenary, Waititu case, Songo case, among other governors that we listen to Mr. Speaker through plenary, it gives opportunity to new members to learn. Because Senate should be the learning curve to expose them, Mr. Speaker. The committee way is limited because at the resolution of the committee, I had a misconception and misleading the House at some point by some members that saying Senate will have the second bite on the cherry. It does not have, Mr. Speaker. Because when the committee sits and agree that governor is not guilty or not guilty, Mr. Speaker, then that matter ends there, Mr. Speaker. So we are ready to listen to the plenary way as we listen to the tunes of guitar, Mr. Speaker, so that we understand. Be very keen and be ready to listen, Mr. Speaker. So I propose that we go to plenary way. I have been the champion of plenary way on the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker, so that we have opportunity, Mr. Speaker, so that Senator Crystal Asige, and I want to inform members, Mr. Speaker, for benefit, because I rarely give out my advice pro bono, Mr. Speaker, but today I do it for free. Mr. Speaker, you have opportunity to cross-examine, to analyze, to look at the documentation, Senator Okiya Omtata, so that when somebody moves to court, the way Senator Okiya Omtata moved, Mr. Speaker, they will not question that Senate did not consider, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I oppose. Let us go to plenary way. And I thank my chair, Mr. Speaker. He is always brilliant. Senator Moses Otieno Kajwang is the man to watch.
Senator Mungatana.
Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, I can only pick a senator from this side whose name is on the dashboard. As we speak, the names on the dashboard are all from this side. So if you wish to speak, proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to say something which hasn't been said, that you see, and honorable members who are practitioners in the court, Mr. Speaker, when a witness appears before you, you have the benefit of looking at that witness. You see the eyes, you see the demeanor of that witness, you appreciate even the voice in terms of presentation, whether that person is actually telling the truth. You have the opportunity to feel that witness. Now, since this Senate is going to be sitting as a court, Mr. Speaker, it's fair, and I'm trying to, appeal to the legal minds on the other side, that Mr. Speaker, since we are sitting
what is your point of
as
order,
a court,
Senator Asige? Senator Mungatana, kindly yield.
I will yield.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I wanted, it's a point of clarification. Is the good Senator Mungatana trying to imply that people who cannot see will not be able to prosecute a matter? Is because we know very well that we even in Kenya have a judge who is blind, and he does a fantastic job and he does not see the witness's demeanor, their facial expressions, or anything else in terms of body language. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like some clarification from Mungatana if that point in his argument is actually factual. Thank you.
Senator Mungatana,
Mr. Speaker,
be sensitive on this matter.
I hardly wish to engage my very good friend, because we come a long way with the old man. So I don't want to go that way. But even if you have challenges in terms of visual challenges, Mr. Speaker, you still, when the witness is before you, you feel the voice. You feel it. And Mr. Speaker, especially for people who have been in these courts for a long time, you can actually tell whether a witness is telling a lie or telling the truth. So, Mr. Speaker, my point, which hasn't been said, is that we want the court, the entire Senate, to have the benefit of the witness. I want to see Kawira Mwangaza, because the last time I never saw her. I never heard anything from her. I just, the committee sat and then said she was okay. I want to see her. I want to see what is the problem. How does this person who is disturbing the entire Meru, how does she look like, Mr. Speaker? I just want to see. I support that we should have plenary. I oppose this motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Karungo. Senator Karungo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I must thank you because I landed back today from Angola, where you had appointed me to represent this country at the IPU Assembly. And that shows that you have confidence in me. Mr. Speaker, the same thing I can say, whoever put my name on this motion to be a member of the 11-member committee has a lot of confidence in me. Because, Mr. Speaker, I really was part of that committee previously. Maybe probably I bring institutional memory, and probably I know a thing or two. And that's why I'm standing here, Mr. Speaker, to support this motion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have to support it because I believe the committee work is supposed to investigate and, of course, substantiate the allegations. Now, how does a plenary investigate, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, I believe in the rule of law, in processes, because I know one day, one time, I'm going to be here, Mr. Speaker. What I'm trying to insinuate, Mr. Speaker, the only problem...
What is the point of order, Senator Cheriot?
Mr. Speaker, wouldn't it have been, I'm just curious, I've heard Senator Karungo say, how does the plenary do an investigation? Then my question to him is, how will you find out if you don't give yourself the chance to serve in a plenary? Because you've had the opportunity to serve in a committee. Do not be victim of the misinformation that is being peddled on the floor. I have told you, as your leader, and I cannot mislead you, that there is nothing that you can do in a committee which you cannot do in plenary, including questioning the witness.
That is more of a point of information than a point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that information. I hope you freezed my time. Mr. Speaker, Senator Chute enumerated very well those who went through the committee and those who went through the plenary. May I inform this House that those who went through the committee, they are still in office, or they never left office. Those who went through the plenary, they are home today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, so, but my issue...
Order. If you have information to pass, you know exactly what to do.
Mr. Speaker,
Senator.
before I'm informed, I am standing here to say that I believe in the committee way. The only problem with the committee is when they find out that grounds are not substantiated, we don't discuss that report. And that's why I have a bill that is in your office, Mr. Speaker. Probably it will be here, whereby we should always be going through the committee. But either, whether they find substantiated or not substantiated, it must be brought to the plenary for scrutiny so that we can go through it, all of us. But a committee will always do a good work by writing to offices. Now imagine, we want to stand here as a plenary and I want to investigate myself. Do I write as Senator Dhangwa or do I write to the Speaker for the Speaker to write to that office? But a committee has a chair.
Senator Roba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to contribute to this motion before I decide whether to oppose or to support. Mr. Speaker, I was privileged to have served in the first impeachment as a committee member, and quite sincerely, I hold a favorable view that a committee will do justice to this impeachment process by getting the opportunity to be able to look in depth into the issues. However, Mr. Speaker, I was disadvantage. It was unfortunate enough. The behavior that was portrayed during the first impeachment by members of this House, and members of this House were people who are not members of the committee, who really went ahead to give even derogatory statements directly in the face of committee members in the most disrespectful manner, without any justification whatsoever, that has really put a lot of, question mark on, the diligent investigation done by the committee and the decision that the committee undertook. And eventually, what came out is a situation that manifested a position of distrust within our own members here. And I want to go on record for purposes of, for the benefit of the people of Meru County, for them to understand we are not prosecuting anything at the Senate right now. We're only trying to agree on modalities of execution of the responsibility before us, and as such, there's no predetermined position. We're only agreeing which both ways are legal. I incline, because of that bad experience and the position of distrust that was portrayed by members of this House, that maybe for the benefit of them getting to understand the treacherous work that the committees undergo, to give them the opportunity for that to be executed through the plenary as suggested. Both ways are legal, and Honorable Speaker, I am not responding to my brother Kajwang, but there is nothing wrong, with holding different views, in terms of whether A or B, in terms of what is constitutionally allowed. And we're only taking that position. That is my take, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. I oppose.
Senator Akenyi Beatrice.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the position that we go the committee way. One, Honorable Speaker, from the presentations earlier, one of the senators indicated that we should give new members an opportunity to also get the experience of the committees. And Honorable Speaker, I've seen in the names that have been forwarded, Senator Sige is one of them. She had not been a member of an earlier committee, and so I want to support. That will be a very good opportunity for her also to experience the committee way. And Honorable Speaker, that should also follow that a number of us that are new in the next time will also get an opportunity to experience the committee way of dealing with impeachment. And Honorable Speaker, the second reason why I want to support going by the committee is that committees are also...
Order, senators. Senator Miraj.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The committee will also ensure that the matter is dealt with clarity, Honorable Speaker, because there'll be fewer members, less time is spent in the deliberations. And so, Honorable Speaker, I support the committee way so that we also want to see the committee should also intensely study how over 3/4 of MCAs would vote against the governor. And that can only be determined by intensively looking at the matter in a more, where less members are. I therefore support the committee way, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Veronica.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. I rise to oppose this motion for the reason that Standing Order 80 provides for the procedure for removal of a governor. It provides either for plenary and provides for a special committee. Mr. Speaker, when I look at the functions that are laid out in Standing Order 82A and B, Mr. Speaker, the function remains the same for both the special committee and the plenary, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, just in line with the message you read to this House, as you were detailing the charges that have come from the Meru County, it was clear, Mr. Speaker, that when Senate resumes as plenary or as a special committee to consider the charges that are levied against the governor, Mr. Speaker, either the special committee or the plenary will have the function to investigate the matter, and it will suit as a quasi-judicial body, Mr. Speaker. That means it will not be ordinary debate. It will be a body that will be investigative in nature. Any document that is presented, nothing will stop the Senate, the plenary, Mr. Speaker, from questioning any document, taking evidence, Mr. Speaker, calling and cross-examining any witness who appears before the plenary or the special committee. That is why, Mr. Speaker, I have found a bit of submissions that have been brought to this House almost not in consonance with Standing Order 80. There seems to be a misunderstanding. Some senators are thinking that when Senate recedes to discuss or investigate this matter, they will be operating as a normal debate. That cannot be further from the truth, Mr. Speaker. And if, Mr. Speaker, the plenary is not good enough, then the special committee is not good enough. So if the plenary is good, if the special committee is good, then the plenary is good enough, because the special committee will be drawn from the same body of senators, Mr. Speaker. It's not outsiders coming in here. It's the same group of senators, Mr. Speaker. When it is in the plenary, Mr. Speaker, it gives an opportunity to many more senators to bring in their perspective, raise all the questions, interrogate the matter that is before the House, Mr. Speaker, and it brings a richness that comes from the diversity of the number of senators who will be sitting here. That is why, Mr. Speaker, I stand to oppose that motion and say that both should be treated equally, and what the plenary or the special committee will need to do is observe what is provided for under Article 50 of the Constitution to render a fair process to the governor when she appears here and to those who are complaining against the governor, Mr. Speaker. And for those reasons,
Senator Karen Nyamo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I have listened very carefully to my colleagues who are supporting the motion to have this process done in a committee, and I cannot state a single reason. They say no process is better, but the committee is better. Mr. Speaker, barely 1 year since Governor of Meru, Governor Kawira Mwangaza, appeared before the Senate on an impeachment motion. She is back again. And Mr. Speaker, the day that it was ruled in the County Assembly of Meru that the governor had been impeached, headlines were flowing. The conversation was national. And Mr. Speaker, such a matter that has elicited such interest, such national interest, it is proper as a House that we make the decision to have the plenary process, because it is more transparent, it is more inclusive. Kenyans want to know what is happening in Meru. And this process is going to give even an integrity to this House, because it is going to be open. Nothing is being done behind closed doors. And Mr. Speaker, a motion that Sifuna supports with so much vigor, I cannot be part of. Senator Sifuna, sorry. I must oppose it, because for reasons best known to me and my other colleagues who agree with me. So, Mr. Speaker, we have precedents have been set before of successful plenary sessions that executed impeachment processes. Successfully, some saved the governor and some sent the governor home. So, Mr. Speaker, let this House rise to the occasion and do what the country is expecting of us, which is to make this process as open as possible to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Miraj.
I'm joking.
Mbona? Asante mstahiki Bwana Spika, na mimi nasimama kupinga hoja hii na kubaliana na seneta mwenzangu Tabitha ya kwamba sisi kama wanawake tutakuwa wachache katika kutoa mwelekeo wa impeachment hii. Kwa hivyo mimi pia naungana na walio wengi kusema hiyo hoja iletwe hapa tuisikize sote kwa pamoja. Asante.
Senator Gloria.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a staunch defender of women and women's rights, I stand to oppose the motion that has been tabled by Senator Ledama. Mr. Speaker, I've been on record talking about fair hearing. I've been on record talking about transparency, Mr. Speaker. And I believe wherever Governor Kawera is seated and watching and following, I believe that I speak on behalf of her thoughts today, that she wants to come to the public finally to defend and to tell us what is really happening, Mr. Speaker. And plenary offers her that opportunity, Mr. Speaker. As women leaders, we are tired of people insinuating that we are flower girls, insinuating that we are being protected. Let her come to plenary, Mr. Speaker, and defend her leadership and defend what she thinks or she assumes is good governance, Mr. Speaker. Because as women of this country, women leaders, Mr. Speaker, we are tired of being assumed. So, Mr. Speaker, I support that we go for plenary. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I want to say this, that I really want to question, since the last report was tabled of Governor Kawera's impeachment, how many of the 67 senators have actually read that report and can actually tell us that these were the grounds of letting her go? Mr. Speaker, we all know that we trust the committees to do the job and we trust their leadership, Mr. Speaker. And so therefore, when the report is tabled, we trust that the committee has done a good job. But for once, Mr. Speaker, especially for us new senators, we want to interrogate all these questions that are being raised concerning her impeachment, Mr. Speaker. And I stand here, I'm saying this as a staunch defender, a devoted and committed woman leader who really supports women leadership. We would like to see Governor Kawera in plenary so that she can be able to speak on her own behalf and even defend women leaders who are defending her out there. And if she's found guilty, Mr. Speaker, I will be the first one. I'll be the first one to say this woman must go home. And if she's found innocent, Mr. Speaker, I will be the first one again, yet again, as we walked with her down these corridors, to walk with her and show people that women leaders can be given a chance and they can deliver. So I don't think that there's an issue of what we are debating. Let Governor Kawera come to plenary and defend her position. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sige.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to speak to also this particular motion. And from the very onset, Mr. Speaker, I oppose the motion to subject this investigation before a committee. Mr. Speaker, this is not the first time that the Senate, the governor is appearing before this House. And this is not the first investigation or impeachment motion that is brought before this House. From the time the Senate was established, we've had 13 out of 13, Mr. Speaker. 3 have gone through plenary, 10 have gone through the committee. There is no harm if this one goes to the plenary. And for the following reasons, and that is why I'm opposing the motion, is that the accusation that if it goes before the plenary, there will not be proper or appropriate investigation is not founded on any basis. The team of senators in this House, whether from the minority or majority, will apply their mind. They will investigate on the evidence that will be brought before the House, subject the governor to an inquiry, and she will be given an opportunity to defend herself. There is no basis to say that there will be a better outcome if it goes before the committee rather than if it goes or if it comes to the plenary. And that is one of the main reasons as to why I wish this particular impeachment is dealt with before the whole House. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, is what we've heard of the list of the senators who've been proposed to sit in the committee. We all desire to also learn. The majority leader has made reference to the fact that you can only experience by learning. We also desire to have an opportunity to question, to investigate, and to inquire from the governor before the plenary, because not all of us are able to fit into the 11-member committee. And for those reasons, Mr. Speaker, I oppose the motion that the committee way be the preferred way. And I thank you.
Senator Cheptumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I arise to oppose the motion. And Mr. Speaker, as I do so, I want to say that there was wisdom. The drafters of the standing orders of this House gave two options, through plenary or through a special committee. But Mr. Speaker, both options will do one particular thing. That is to investigate, whether plenary or in the committee. Mr. Speaker, what is investigation? If you read in the dictionary, it says it is carrying out systematic or formal inquiry to discover and examine the facts so as to establish the truth. The question, Mr. Speaker, that arises is it possible in the plenary to undertake systematic and formal investigation? And the answer is yes. Just as also it is true that in committee, you can do the same. Mr. Speaker, when this issue came before the House, the first time the governor for Meru was impeached, Mr. Speaker, this House gave a chance to the committee. And Mr. Speaker, we know the consequences of that particular impeachment motion. Mr. Speaker, today we have the second impeachment motion. Mr. Speaker, I think it is prudent for this House, this time round, we should be able to allow plenary to deal with this matter, Mr. Speaker, so that we discover, we do the inquiry. And Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with what Senator Nyeri spoke about. We don't think better in special committee than when we're in plenary. In fact, to me, Mr. Speaker, the debate and the discussion in plenary will actually even be more transparent, open. Mr. Speaker, I think it is wrong for anybody to imagine that by having a plenary debate on this impeachment, then we are going to deny the governor a chance, Mr. Speaker, to prove our case. Mr. Speaker, the same standing order 80 is clear that this governor will choose to have a representation by a legal counsel.
Senator Seki. What is the point of order, Senator Sifuna?
With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, understanding Order 109, I would like to propose that we now call the mover to reply.
Senator Sifuna, go to Standing Order 110-4. I'll just read it for the benefit of your colleagues and yourself in particular. 109.3, in fact. Do you wish to proceed with your point of order? No. Good. Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also rise to oppose this motion on the impeachment of Governor Kawera. I want to take this opportunity to say that this Senate, this House, has an opportunity to understand more about the issues of Meru County, rather than going to the committee way. I suggest that and propose that we go the plenary way, because it will give us opportunity to hear for ourselves, to see what is happening in Meru County, and understand more problems that are coming from the governor herself. I want to take this opportunity to say that going the committee way, we tried that, and it is another chance that we also experience this opportunity to go the plenary way. I want to say that, yes, it is true. We have seen this House going through committee ways in different or with different governors that who have been impeached. But I believe that this process of plenary will give us a chance as new senators also to debate and also to give our contribution as delegations of counties to this motion. So I think I do oppose this motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as by Standing Order 80, the Senate, we have the two options, either to go to plenary or committee way. I want to speak as the chair of, I was the chair for impeachment motion for Deputy Governor for Siaya, and during that particular impeachment motion and process, Honorable Speaker, we were able to give both sides, the accusers and the Deputy Governor, enough time. We sat as a committee through the night looking at all the reports. From my side, Honorable Speaker, I believe the committee way is the best way to go. Honorable Speaker, members have an issue with the 6 members from Kenya Kwanza side who sat December last year when they were presiding over the impeachment motion for Kawira. I believe the reason why they were put there by the leadership of Kenya Kwanza, it's because they want them to bring historical memory. That's the reason why they are there, so that they can help to check if the accusations that have been brought again are the same. Honorable Speaker, it's not that when we have 11 members, the others, Honorable Speaker, when we did that impeachment process, the process was covered live. The people of Meru, the MCS from Meru, they'll be able to see, because all the media houses will be there covering live, the same as if we have it at plenary. So by going to committee way, we are not losing anything. If anything, will gain, because if the committee finds that there is substantiated allegations, then it will come to the committee. It will come to plenary. There will be 2 options. I mean, there will be 2 opportunities for the Speaker, for the Governor. Honorable Speaker, I support this motion and ask my colleagues, this is a bipartisan motion, just to agree on numbers on a committee. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Senator Kenywa.
Asante sana, Bwana Speaker.
But who has given you that permission to stand? Senator Kenywa.
Asante, Bwana Speaker, kwa kunipa fursa hii.
What is your point of order, Senator Mtata?
Order number 109, and ask that the move of the motion be now called upon to reply, because we are now bombing rubble. We are repeating ourselves. There's nothing new being said. So let the mover be called to reply.
Now, Honorable have a seat, Senator Folamu. You can take your seat, please. Now, honorable senators, Senator Omtata has read the mood of the House and is seeking for the chair to call the mover to reply. Now, will as many? No. Senator Maruma, take your seat. This is a matter we can dispense with in a minute. Okay? So I will proceed to put the question. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? So the ayes have it. Senator Ledama, proceed to reply.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. I rise to reply. And Mr. Speaker, I've listened to all our colleagues make contributions. And as I reply, Mr. Speaker, there are a few things that I think are important that must be clarified for particularly the new members who have come here, so that when you make a decision, either way, you know the beauty of debates, Mr. Speaker, is that you either for or against. My job is to persuade you to find it fit to support the motion, but with reason. Debate, when I was in school, I was taught that debate enriches skills. It also challenges you to be able to think outside the box. Mr. Speaker, during the submissions of our colleagues, one of our colleagues have indicated clearly that it is important for the governor to be able to come to this plenary so that she can be able to defend herself and all senators get a chance to cross-examine her. Mr. Speaker, I want to correct that assertion. When we sit as 67 members of the Senate, we'll only sit as a jury. The only thing we can be able to do is to seek clarification. You will rise and say, can you please clarify what you just said? The reason why, Mr. Speaker, I was persuading, and this is why I still want to persuade you, to consider the committee way is because that is the only option you will have to cross-examine any witness. Sitting here during plenary, Mr. Speaker, will all be juries. In fact, these televisions will be switched off, and then all of us, after the governor and the assembly have made their case, sit down to now consult and talk among each other as juries, 67 of us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important that any decision we make as a Senate, we make it when we are fully informed. Mr. Speaker, I want to persuade the new members who have made an argument that they have not been given an opportunity to be able to experience a committee, and they want to be given an opportunity to participate in an impeachment motion. Mr. Speaker, on our side of the divide, we propose new members. And in fact, out of the 11 members, we have proposed in total, for both sides, 4 women. That is above a third. Mr. Speaker, it is important for us to note that we are discussing about precedents. We are discussing, Mr. Speaker, about procedures, whether committee, whether plenary. If you are sitting there thinking that in plenary, you will get an opportunity to cross-examine a witness, the news is you will not be able to do that. You will only be a jury. So those are the issues that we must consider, Mr. Speaker,
order, senators,
as we make our decision.
Senator Boni, and Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are a new democracy. In fact, now I'm happy that soon we'll be celebrating 60 years of independence. We have chosen a presidential system of governance. In the United States, Mr. Speaker, during an impeachment process, a group of representatives who are referred to as managers prosecute the matters and then submit. Once the charges have been read, they prosecute the matters and then submit a report for the full House to debate. We are quite far, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the issue of understanding issues to do with the impeachment process. And I know, Mr. Speaker, and I want to persuade my colleagues that I know that we are sitting here, and in most cases, Mr. Speaker, what drives us is our political affiliation, Mr. Speaker. I want to remind us, and as I persuade you, as I close, Mr. Speaker, I want to persuade you that whatever happens today, remember it will go on record. It is something which will be able to help build this Senate. I know as you sit there, you've made up your mind. But for the people of Meru, it is important for the people of Meru to know that today we are not prosecuting, we are not debating the issue
Honorable Senators.
of either
Order,
to send the governor away. The only thing we are debating is whether
What is your point of order,
to give
Senator,
it to
for
11
Meru?
members of the Senate to be
What is
able
your
to
point of order,
cross-examine
Senator, for
witnesses.
Meru? Senator Ledama.
Honorable Speaker, it is very unfortunate that I did not get an opportunity also to speak on this particular matter which is touching on my county. But Mr. Speaker, you know, Honorable Rendama, Senator Rendama convinced us enough. And I think he is just delivering his points that he gave us. So can you kindly summarize? Can you just summarize and then we make the decision? Yes. Yeah, you just summarize your reply. You don't need to, that is the reason why we could have been given 2 minutes each. Because I was on the queue also. It is not fair at all.
Senator for Meru, indeed I am aware. Indeed I'm aware that this matter originates from your home county. However, if you look at our standing orders, the mover has 20 minutes to make a reply. So, Senator Ledama, you are left with 3 of the 20. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I thought I was left with 17 of the 20, but I will respect...
the 3 minutes now you have
Within
two.
3 minutes, Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude as follows. You know, we can make all the noise. And, Mr. Speaker, please...
Order. What is the point of order,
Talk
Senator
to Senator Cherargei.
Cherargei?
Freeze my time.
Mr. Speaker, I needed for future engagement. I'm raising understanding order number 98, number 103, number 47, 48, and number 111. Mr. Speaker, I need your interpretation. When a motion is limited, after you have put the open for the debate, does it mean that the mover, when they are replying, are also limited to 3 minutes? My interpretation and the upshot in such, so that we don't go to conundrum, Mr. Speaker, is to have the mover to reply, to restrain themselves to 3 minutes, because that is the import of standing order number 111. So is it in order, Mr. Speaker, to request you kindly, understanding what number 1 and the import of standing order 111, to call the mover, Mr. Speaker, to just finish under 3 minutes, just like any Mr. Speaker, because it is like Animal Farm. It's not like Animal Farm where, Mr. Speaker...
Senator Fernandi, had you not showed up on a point of order, Senator Ledama will be through by now. I said he had 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you for the guidance. I just needed that clarity. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, you know, my dear brother from Nandi loved to hear the sound of his
Senator
own voice.
Ledama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Just proceed to
All right.
conclude.
Let me conclude in 2 minutes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I want to conclude with the following. Number 1, that it is important for us to know the facts of either committee or plenary. During committee, our distinguished 11 senators will get a chance to retreat, to go and write a well-thought-out report and come back here to be able to persuade us either to send the governor home or to save the governor. During plenary, Mr. Speaker, this will only take 2 days. There is no time to go and retreat. And looking at the calendar, Mr. Speaker, it is quite evident that maybe we'll have only the 7th and the 8th, and that's done. So, Mr. Speaker, as we leave this House today, and as my colleagues from both sides of the aisle make their determination on whether to go plenary or committee, remember that impeachment is a very painful process that I would never wish for anybody. So I plead with you to support.
Order, members.
My brother from Meru, I have a lot of tremendous respect, Mr. Speaker, for the Deputy Speaker. But the Deputy Speaker, being the Deputy Speaker, sits in that seat, knows the rules of debate. The issue here is this: let us not make it a shouting matter. I am trying to convince you, if we bring Narok here, I'll be sitting here, you will tell me the same thing. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply, and I request you to support.
Thank you. Now, honorable senators, as you may notice, this is a procedural motion. It does not go to the substance of the subject of impeachment. It is a procedural motion. And therefore, pursuant to Standing Order 84-1, I will proceed to make my determination, which is it does not affect the counties, being a procedural motion. Senator Eddy, I will throw you out. And therefore, I will proceed now to put the question. At the end of the question, voting shall be by voice. Honorable senators, and I put the question. Senator Karen Nyamu, kindly walk in and take your seat. That whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act, on Wednesday, 25th of October, 2023, the Meru County Assembly, order members. How will you vote if you won't hear the question? Or what are you going to vote on if you cannot be still to hear the question? Order members. That whereas, pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act, on Wednesday, 25th October 2023, the Meru County Assembly approved a motion to remove from office by impeachment the Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the Governor of Meru County. And further, whereas by a letter reference M/Cares Volume 4/43, dated 26th of October 2023, and received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate on Friday, 27 October 2023, the Speaker of Meru County Assembly, Senator Chirange, informed the Speaker of the Senate of the approval of the motion by County Assembly and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the Assembly. And whereas pursuant to Section 33(3)(b) of the County Government Act and Standing Order 81(b) of the Senate by resolution may appoint a special committee comprising 11 of its members to investigate the matter. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33(3)(b) of the County Governments Act and Standing Order 81(b), the Senate resolves to establish a special committee comprising the following senators: Senator Dr. Boni Kalwale, CBS MP, Senator Jackson Mandago, EGH MP, Senator Karungo Thangwa MP, Senator Esther Okenyuri MP, Senator Ali Roba, EGH MP, Senator Peris Tobiko, CBS MP, Senator Enoch Wambua, CBS MP, Senator Abdul Haji MP, Senator Okoeti Omtata MP, Senator Crystal Asige MP, and Senator Shakila Abdallah, MP, to investigate the proposed removal from office of the governor of Meru County and pursuant to Standing Order 82 to report to the Senate within 10 days of its appointment on whether or not it finds the particulars of the allegations against the governor to have been substantiated. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Honorable Senators, order, order. If you're standing, you'll be counted with this side. Order. Order. Pardon? Order, order, honorable senators. Senator Boni. Now, before I allow the clerk to count, I'm giving you a second either to stand or to sit because we're going to proceed to count. Order, Senator. Senator Ledama. Senator Ledama, you stand and keep quiet. You're not conducting a no. So, you are 14 and therefore is defeated. Thank you. Matthew had been. Clerk, proceed to call the next order, please. We go to this, sir. Order, order, honorable senators. Order. Clerk, proceed to call the next order, please.
Order number 8, the Sugar Bill, National Assembly Bills number 34 of 2023, second reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the development, regulation, and promotion of the sugar industry, to provide for the establishment, powers, and functions of the Kenya Sugar Board, and for connected purposes.
Now, honorable senators, kindly take your seat. For those who are not willing to continue after that vote, please, you can wait your colleagues in the lounge, but don't disrupt the proceedings of the House. We need to proceed. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 45-2, I will again further rearrange the sequence of today's order paper. And Senator Fomeru, kindly take your seat. If you look at today's order paper, order number 19 and 20, these are orders that have been appearing in our order paper for the last 3 months, if not more. These are procedural matters that we can dispense with at this moment, and then we can revert to the original flow of today's order paper. So I will rearrange the business. We proceed to prosecute order number 19 and 20 before resuming the normal flow of today's business. Clerk, proceed to call the order.
Order number 19, motion, report of the 146th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings held in Manama, Kingdom of Bahrain from 11th to 15th March 2023.
Senator Kathuri, proceed. Well, this motion is by the Senator for Meru. The report on the 147th Assembly of the Interparliamentary. The report on the Manama.
Honorable
IPU
Speaker,
report.
Honorable Speaker, wait. Please give me time. Honorable Speaker,
not ready, Senator,
I was not ready, and my mind also has no that temperament to prosecute that motion, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Proceed to call order 20.
Order number 20, motion, report of the Senate delegation to the 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, CSW 67, held in New York from 6th to 17th March 2023.
Senator Fatuma Dulo. Yes, you can do that. Banawe.
How long will you take, Veronica? A few minutes. Honorable Speaker, this is the report of the Senate delegation to the 16th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, CSW 67. Honorable Speaker, I was honored to be part of the delegation that proceeded to CSW meeting in New York, and I will now present the report. The United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, CSW, is the principal global intergovernmental body exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of women.
Senator Veronica, please approach the speaker.
Honorable Speaker, I move the motion that the Senate notes the report of the Senate delegation to the 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, CSW, held in New York from 6th to 17th March 2023, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 29th June 2023. Honorable Speaker, I will now go to the report. Honorable Speaker, the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, CSW, is the principal global intergovernmental body exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of women. This is a functional commission of the Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, which was established in June 1946. The CSW is instrumental in promoting women's rights, documenting the reality of women's lives throughout the world, and shaping global standards on gender equality and the empowerment of women. The Commission holds a 2-week annual event where representatives of the UN member states, civil society groups, non-governmental organizations, the NGOs, the media, and other UN entities converge at the UN headquarters in consultative status with ECOSOC to discuss priority themes critical to the well-being of women around the globe. The 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women took place at the United Nations headquarters in New York from 6th to 17th March 2023. The theme of the session was Innovation and Technological Change and Education in Digital Age for Achieving Gender Equality and the Empowerment of All Women and Girls. In the first fully in-person session following 3 years of the COVID-19 pandemic, CSW 67 registered attendance from 181 member states with more than 7,000 participants, including 4 heads of states and government and 116 ministers, 205 side events on UN premises, and about 700 NGO parallel events. For the first time, the session included an interactive youth session with young people, youth representative of delegations, civil society, and United Nations organizations engaging in dialogue and providing recommendation on how to ensure young women and girls are part of the digital transformation. The Commission also benefited from important contribution from a wide range of civil society organizations, including the leaders and commitment makers of the Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation for Gender Equality, launched as part of the Generation Equality Forum. The Action Coalition on Technology and Innovation for the Gender Equality has made a significant contribution in cementing alliances between governments, private sector, civil society, and the UN system, and in driving momentum and commitment to advance gender equality through technology and innovation. The Senate delegation to the 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women comprised the following: Senator Fatuma Adan Dulo, CBS MP, who was leader of delegation; myself, Senator Veronica Maina, MP; Senator Betty Montet, MP; Senator George Mungai Bogwa, MP; Ms. Michelle Bibi Fondo, Deputy Director, Speaker's Office; Ms. Josephine Kusinyi, Principal Legal Counsel, Secretary to the delegation. On behalf of the delegation, I wish to thank the offices of the Speaker and the Clerk of Senate for the support extended to ensure participation of the delegation in the event. It is my pleasure and humble duty to submit the report of the Senate delegation to the 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women to the Senate for noting and action where necessary. The Commission on the Status of Women, CSW, first met at Lake Success, New York in February 1947, soon after the founding of the United Nations. From its inception, the Commission was supported by a unit of the United Nations that later became the Division for the Advancement of Women in the UN Secretariat. The CSW forged a close relationship with non-governmental organizations, with those in consultative status with the UN Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, invited to participate as observers. From 1947 to 1962, the Commission focused on setting standards and formulating international conventions to change discriminatory legislation and foster global awareness of women issues. Since the codification of the legal rights of women needed to be supported by data and analysis, the Commission embarked on a global assessment of the status of women. Extensive research produced a detailed country-by-country picture of their politics and legal standing, which over time became a basis for drafting human rights instruments. In 1963, efforts to consolidate standards on women's rights led to the UN General Assembly to request the Commission to draft a declaration on the elimination of discrimination against women, which the Assembly ultimately adopted in 1967. As evidence began to accumulate in the 1960s that women were disproportionately affected by poverty, the work of the Commission centered on women's needs in community and rural development, agricultural work, family planning, and scientific and technological advances. The Commission encouraged the UN system to expand its technical assistance to further the advancement of women, especially in developing countries. In 1972, to mark its 25th anniversary, the Commission recommended that 1975 be designated International Women's Year, an idea endorsed by the General Assembly to draw attention to women's equality with men and to their contribution to development and peace. New UN offices dedicated to women were established, in particular the UN Development Fund for Women, UNIFEM, and the International Research and Training Institute for the Advancement of Women, INSTRO. In 1987, as part of follow-up to the Third World Conference on Women in Nairobi, the Commission took the lead in coordinating and promoting the UN system's work on economic and social issues for women empowerment. Its efforts shifted to promoting women issues as cross-cutting and part of the mainstream, rather than as a separate concern. In 2011, the 4 parts of the UN system, Division for the Advancement of Women, DAW, International Research and Training Institute for the Advancement of Women, INSTRO, the Office of the Special Advisor on Gender Issues and Advancement of Women, OSAGI, and the UN Development Fund for Women, UNIFEM, merged to become UN Women, now the Secretariat of the Commission on the Status of Women. During the Commission's annual 2-week session, representatives of UN member states, civil society organizations, and UN entities gather at UN headquarters in New York. They discuss progress and gaps in the implementation of the 1995 Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the key global policy document on gender equality, and the 23rd special session of the General Assembly held in 2000, Beijing +5, as well as emerging issues that affect gender equality and the empowerment of women. Member states agree on further action to accelerate progress and promote women enjoyment of their rights in political, economic, and social fields. The outcome and recommendation of each session are forwarded to ECOSOC for follow-up. Methods of work. The Commission adopts multi-year program of work to appraise progress and make further recommendation to accelerate the implementation of the platform for action. These recommendations take the form of negotiated agreed conclusions on a priority theme. The Commission also contributes to the follow-up to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development so as to accelerate the realization of gender equality and the empowerment of women. Under its current methods of work at each session, the Commission convenes a ministerial segment to reaffirm and strengthen political commitment to the realization of gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls, as well as their human rights, and to ensure high-level engagement and the visibility of the deliberations of the Commission, including through ministerial roundtables or other high-level interactive dialogues to exchange experiences, lessons learned, and good practices. B, engages in general discussions on the status of gender equality, identifying goals attained, achievements made, and efforts underway to close gaps and meet challenges. And C, convenes interactive expert panel discussions and the other interactive dialogues on steps and initiatives to accelerate implementation and measures to build capacities for mainstreaming gender equality across policies and programs. D, it also considers one priority theme based on the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action and the outcome of the 23rd Special Session of the General Assembly and linkages to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. E, evaluates progress in implementing agreed conclusions from previous sessions as a review theme. F, discusses emerging issues, trends, focus areas, and new approaches to questions affecting the situation of women, including equality between women and men that require timely consideration. G, it considers in close meeting the report of its working group on communication. H, agrees on further action for the promotion of gender equality and empowerment of women by adopting agreed conclusions and resolutions. I, contributes gender perspectives to the work of other intergovernmental bodies and processes. J, reports on the aspect relating to gender equality, and the empowerment of women of the agreed main theme of the Economic and Social Council in order to contribute to its work. And K, celebrates International Women's Day on 8th March when it falls within its session. Kenya's country position paper on the 67th CSW. Kenya prepared a country position paper, CPP, to articulate the country's position on the 67th CSW priority theme. Yes. Okay. Mr. Speaker, I stand guided, and I want to give the observations that were done by the delegation. Those would have been good to see what Kenya presented, Mr. Speaker, but I believe the report will be availed for the senators to take note of that. The delegation observed that there was need to move beyond the focus on access and ensure women are equipped with the knowledge, awareness, and skills to leverage connectivity for their economic and social empowerment. B, that data is important to make informed decisions, and there is need to continually collect comparable sex disaggregated data to monitor progress towards meaningful connectivity. C, policies and programs should be rolled out to facilitate access and subsidize smartphones and other digital devices for women and girls. D, there is need to develop online content and services which are accessible to women with limited literacy and digital skills. And E, Parliament as an institution should consider hosting a side event during the 68th session. Recommendation was the Senate delegation to the 67th session on the Commission of the Status of Women urges the Senate to note this report. The report, Honorable Speaker, contains much more information and the many side events that the delegation attended, and it would be very good if Senate notes so that we can make progress in gender matters. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would request Senator Mungatana to second the report.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to second this report, the motion to table this report before this House. Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the mover of this report that it be adopted by the Senator, by the Senate, the Honorable Senator Veronica Maina. I also want to take the opportunity to congratulate the leader of the delegation, Senator Fatma Dulo, and all the senators who accompanied this delegation. Mr. Speaker, every time we talk about women issues, Mr. Speaker, I am the first one to support because, Mr. Speaker, I'm a product of a very strong woman leader called Martha Mungatana, my late departed mother. May God rest her soul in peace. Mr. Speaker, my mother went to the Beijing conference, the United Nations Beijing conference, and we had a very strong paternalistic system in the house, as it is in most African countries, where my father was everything. But very interesting things happened in our family setup when my mother came back from Beijing. Mr. Speaker, we were taught a lot of things by my mother. She told us it is not just my sister who is supposed to cook. We are supposed to learn how to cook, how to look after the home, how to take care of ourselves, because we need to be good men to marry good women in future, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in fact, I can dare say that she laid a foundation in leadership in Tana River, which I was a specific beneficiary. Because, Mr. Speaker, when I went for the seat of MP many years later, everybody would ask me, if you are the son of Martha, you don't need to campaign here. We shall support you. So, Mr. Speaker, I mention this because women in our country have made great contributions. And Mr. Speaker, those days of the United Nations, breaking the barriers, bringing the one-third rule, we have made great progress, Mr. Speaker. Even in this Senate, in the Constitution, we created a special provision to make sure that we never fail in the one-third gender rule. Mr. Speaker, we have come a long way. But this particular session that our colleagues attended, Mr. Speaker, was focusing on the digital. Mr. Speaker, in seconding this report of the 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, some of the things that they talked about, we would not have been talking about many years ago. We would not have been talking, even visualize them at the time of the UN, decade conference in Beijing, or even the time that agitation started for women's rights and the one-third rule. Mr. Speaker, this time now we are talking about women in the space of technology. And Mr. Speaker, I'm impressed by what they did when they went there. And Mr. Speaker, in particular, I was very happy to see the Kenya's country position on this matter, because they summarize that in Kenya, we have set 4 pillars: the digital infrastructure, the digital government service, product and data management, digital skills, digital innovation. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that in our country, we have come a long way. We have accepted women leadership, and now we are accepting women in the technological sphere. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the latest move by the Kenya Kwanza government, led by President Ruto, recently, Mr. Speaker, we witnessed the launching of the smartphone, which costs 6,000. Mr. Speaker, it is a very fantastic idea, Mr. Speaker, which has gone a long way towards helping the women who are working in the shops, the women who are working in the mama mbogas, the women who are doing small-scale businesses. Because, Mr. Speaker, with that kind of facilitation, we are helping our women to take one step ahead of the others. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to again emphasize that Kenya as a country, and indeed our nation, under the leadership of the President, has done very well. And I just want to emphasize that recently, even our own political party, the UDA, we have actually gone out of our way to amend our constitution so that if the chairman is a lady, the deputy must be a gentleman. And if the chairman is a man, the deputy must be a woman. And that follows for all the positions. So this reflects the kind of thinking, and we thank our delegation that went there. And indeed, we pray that this report, where there's action to be taken, will be moved in the various ministries. And I really congratulate them and keep up the spirit. There should never be a reverse gear on the gender issues. It doesn't matter how much resistance you get on the way, because we have all come a long way. And I know with time, this country will be even better than it is today. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second this report. I thank you.
Order number 17, the Prevention of Livestock and Produce Theft Bill, Senate Bills number 12 of 2023, second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to the provision of the Senate Standing Orders 1461, I rise to move that the Prevention of Livestock and Produce Theft Bill 2023, Senate Bills number of 2023 be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill seeks to, it's a bill that has come at the appropriate time while we continue, Mr. Speaker, to struggle and fight against castle rustling, banditry. Mr. Speaker, you have to appreciate where it has come from. Mr. Speaker, the issue of banditry, the issue of cattle rustling continues to be a problem, Mr. Speaker, in the North Rift, in Central Rift, like areas like Baringo, in other areas, Mr. Speaker, that have given. And therefore,
sittings. And in the order of business for the members this afternoon is that the members will be considering a motion that seeks to establish a special committee to investigate and report on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, that is the governor of Meru County. This is a motion that will be moved by the Senate Minority Whip. This is the Narok Senator, Honorable Olekina Lidamam. And this follows a motion that was approved by the Meru County Assembly to remove from office by impeachment the Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, that is the governor of Meru County. And on the 27th of October, the office of the Speaker of the Senate was informed of the approval of a motion by the County Assembly to remove by impeachment the Honorable Governor, and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the County Assembly. Now, you understand that in such proceedings or in such cases, then the Senate normally appoints a special committee comprising of 11 of its members to investigate the matter. This is pursuant to Section 33(3)(b) of the County Governments Act and Standing Order 81B of the Senate. That in this case, the Senate usually resolves to appoint a special committee comprising 11 of its members to investigate the matter. Already the committee has been established comprising of 11 members, and this will lead to them investigating the proposed removal from office of Governor of Meru County. And pursuant to the House Standing Order number 82 to report to the Senate within 10 days of its appointment on whether or not it finds the particulars of the allegations against the governor to have been substantiated. That is one of the order of business that, as members of the Senate resume from the 1-week recess, will be embarking on to establish this special committee of 11 members that has already been set up and will be tasked with investigations on the proposed removal from office of the governor of Meru County. So that is a business that in this afternoon sitting we will be hearing from the senators on the way forward. But as it is, this motion is already in place, and the members will be taking into consideration this particular motion that will be moved by the Senate Minority Whip, Narok Senator Honorable Olekina Ledama. This afternoon, the members of the Senate will also consider the report of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on the application for conferment of city status to the municipality of Eldoret. This is a motion that will be moved by the chairperson, Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations, Honorable Sheikh Abbas. And in this report, the committee indicated that in this report, the committee recommended the elevation of the municipality of Eldoret to the city status, having met all the requirements of the law to achieve the said status. These are recommendations that have been provided for in the report by the Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations. And remember, debate on this particular motion already took place extensively in the Senate chambers, and this afternoon it will be a resumption of a debate that was interrupted on Thursday, 19th October 2023, before the Senate proceeded on the one-week recess. And this afternoon, the mover will be called to reply. The Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffa Kingi, as you can see, has stepped into the chambers. He will be presiding over this afternoon sitting. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Good afternoon.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with abundant favor and blessings us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our church. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
Well, at the commencement of House business, the House needs to have a quorum of 15 members in the chambers seated. This is pursuant to the House Standing Order number 40. And upon the arrival of the Speaker, and once the Speaker takes the chair, and after the prayer, if the quorum has not been achieved, then the quorum bell will be on for 10 minutes as having been directed by the Speaker. Currently is the 10-minute quorum bell. This is, of course, to allow members who may be within the precincts of Parliament but yet to get into the chambers to be alerted that their presence is highly required in the chambers for the House to attain its requisite quorum for the House business to commence. That is the Kiambu Senator, Honorable Karongo Thangwa, walking in, as well as the Garissa senator as well. So what we are likely to be seeing now is that members will be trickling in, but the Sergeant at Arms is alert. Once the quorum is achieved, then he will be alerting the Speaker and the Clerk, and the Speaker will call the House to order, of course, to start the business of the day for this afternoon sitting.
Honorable Senators, I take this opportunity to welcome you back from the one-week recess. In accordance with the calendar of the Senate for the regular sittings, Part 5 begins today, Tuesday, 31st of October, 2023, and will conclude at the rise of the Senate on the 7th of December, 2023. Now, Honorable Senators, you will observe that this will be the last segment of the Senate calendar, regular sessions of the Senate in 2023. It will be a short, indeed a very short one, and that before the Senate undertakes the December-January recess. The resumption of regular sittings in this last part brings with it a certain degree of urgency to conclude the legislative agenda of the Senate. I believe that together we can navigate the intricacies of our legislative procedures and make meaningful contributions for the betterment of our country. It is in this context that I therefore urge that we redouble our collective efforts in a bid to conclude the business of the Senate by close of the session in December 2023. I also urge the office of the Senate Majority Leader, the Senate Minority Leader, and the committee chairpersons to do all that is necessary within the standing orders to expedite legislative processing. Honorable Senators, I wish you fruitful deliberations and wish all of you well. I have another communication to make. Honorable Senators, via the letter reference CONF/MENA/CS/Volume 1, dated 19th of October 2023, the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior and National Administration submitted a request to my office seeking the approval of the Senate for the deployment of officers from the National Police Service to the Multinational Security Support MSS mission for Haiti. The communication from the Cabinet Secretary indicated that at the meeting held on Friday, 13th October 2023, the National Security Council considered and approved a memorandum number NSC 2313 from the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration and the Attorney General for the proposed deployment of officers from the National Police Service to the Multinational Security Support MSS mission for Haiti, pursuant to Article 248A1 of the Constitution. Honorable Senators, Article 239(1) of the Constitution states as follows: the national security organs are A, the Kenya Defense Forces, B, the National Intelligence Service, and C, the National Police Service. Further, Article 248A of the Constitution provides as follows: the Council may, with the approval of Parliament, deploy national forces outside Kenya for regional or international peace support operations or other operations. Now, Honorable Senators, this being a matter of immense national importance, I hereby refer the requests of the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration to the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations. The Standing Committee is required to consider the request and undertake public participation and table a report thereon on or before 15th of November 2023 for consideration by the Senate. I thank you. Honorable Senators, you may walk in. Senator Manzo, it's not opportunity to exchange greetings. We got business to transact. Senator Ledama, kindly take your seat. I need to make a communication. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the Speaker's Gallery this afternoon, visiting delegation of members of staff from various counties undertaking the County Assembly's legislation tracker training. Honorable Senators, the County Assembly's legislation tracker is a platform where information on legislation passed or being considered by the county assemblies is uploaded. The platform will also provide a centralized online space where members of the public and the relevant stakeholders may access bills, legislation being processed by specific county assemblies and promote openness, transparency, and public involvement in the legislative process as required under Article 196 of the Constitution. It is envisaged that the Senate will utilize the system in accessing first-hand and synthesized information on bills and acts passed by the county assemblies in undertaking its oversight and legislative mandates. It is for this reason that the Senate, with the support from the Westminster Foundation of Democracy, WFD, engaged a consultant to develop an online legislative database that will bridge the gap on information on the trends in enactment of legislation by county assemblies. I request each member of staff represented to stand when their county is called out. Meru County. The delegation from Meru. Thank you. Marsabit County. Okay. Tana River County. Taita Taveta County. Lamu County. Kilifi County. Garissa County. Kericho County. Kirinyaga County. Laikipia County. Tharaka Nithi County. Turkana County. Uasin Gishu County. Nyeri County. West Pokot County. Muranga County. Baringo County. Nyandarua County. Trans Nzoia County. Elgeyo Marakwet County. Bomet County. Nairobi County. And lastly, Nandi County. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I will call upon the Majority Leader under 1 minute to extend some words of welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I join you on behalf of the Senate of the Republic of Kenya to welcome this visiting delegation from our various county assemblies who are on a study tour of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, the Senate continues to make its contribution in growing and nurturing our various county assemblies through various avenues, one such as the one that is presented today before us. It is my sincere hope, Mr. Speaker, that the delegation will get the full value of their time in the Senate, get to interact with our staff, very competent and well-trained, able, so that as they retreat back to their various county assemblies, they may pass on the same knowledge and skill to our various county assembly members, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know for a fact that despite the fact that you're on the third cycle of members of county assemblies, many of them are yet to learn the art of legislative work. It is difficult to think off the top of your mind outstanding legislation that has come either by way of government bills or privately sponsored in our county assemblies that has significantly changed the way of life or even improved on the quality of life of the various people that these assemblies represent. Therefore, I believe that the training that is being received by these senior staffers of our various county assemblies, Mr. Speaker, will go a long way in helping impart and pass on that knowledge. Because it's a fact, Mr. Speaker, that, and I need not hide this, that even the bills that are considered and passed by this House are done so with the very great input and guidance of our staff, members of staff. Therefore, I hope the colleagues that are here from the county assemblies can get on to learn and train our county assemblies as well. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 3, messages.
Senator Mogeni and Senator Eddy, we are waiting for you to take your seats, so kindly hasten. Now, honorable senators, I have the following message to pass to you. I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 48, I received the following message from the Speaker of the County Assembly of Meru regarding the passage by the County Assembly of a motion pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act for the removal from office by way of impeachment of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the Governor of Meru County. The message was transmitted to the Senate via letter reference number M/Volume 4/43, dated Thursday, 26 October 2023, signed by the Speaker of the County Assembly of Meru and received in my office on Friday, 27th October 2023. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 48.5 of the Senate, I shall now report the message to the Senate. This is to inform you that on Wednesday, the 25th day of October 2023, the County Assembly of Meru, via the resolution of the Assembly and pursuant to the provisions of Article 181 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, Section 33 of the County Governments Act, 2012, as read together with the provisions of Standing Order number 65 of the County Assembly of Meru, standing orders, approve the motion to remove from office the Governor of Meru County by way of impeachment. The purpose of this letter is to, therefore, inform you of the aforementioned resolution and to forward the same to your esteemed office in line with the provisions of Section 33(2)(a) of the County Governments Act 2012 and Standing Order 65(6) of the County Assembly of Meru standing orders for your further action. Attached herewith, please find a schedule containing the bundle of documents, records containing evidence adduced, notes and records of proceedings before the County Assembly for your reference and records. Senator Sifuna, just walking. Now, honorable senators, as stated in the letter from the Speaker of the County Assembly of Meru, the following documents were forwarded to the Senate, being the record of the proceedings of the County Assembly and the evidence adduced in support of the impeachment motion. 1, copy of approved notice of motion for the proposed removal from office of the Governor dated 16th of October 2023. 2, order papers for the County Assembly sittings held on Tuesday 17th October, morning sitting, and Wednesday 25th October 2023, morning sitting. 3, certified Hansard reports of the Assembly sittings held on Tuesday 17th of October 2023, morning sitting, and Wednesday 25th October 2023, morning sitting. 4, certified Hansard reports of the Assembly sittings held on Wednesday 18th of October 2023, afternoon sitting, and Wednesday 14th June 2023, afternoon sitting. 5, copy of certified signatures of County Assembly members in support of the impeachment motion for the removal from office of the Governor of Meru County, dated 25th of October 2023. Certified copy of a roll call vote of Wednesday 25th of October 2023 on the motion for the impeachment of the Governor of Meru County. Copies of the County Assembly reports referred to during the debate on the motion for removal of the governor of Meru County. To wit, A, report of the Select Committee on the County Budget and Appropriations on the budget estimates of the County Government of Meru for the financial year 2023-2024, dated 13th June 2023. B, report of the Sectoral Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Cohesion on the compliant by His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Meru County, to the County Assembly against his alleged exclusion from the County Executive Committee meetings and non-facilitation of his office, dated 17th of October 2023. And C, response to petition number 4 of 2023, urging the County Assembly of Meru to investigate the alleged illegal employment of traffic marshals by Her Excellency, the Governor, Meru County, and alleged illegal traffic charges by the Meru County Enforcement Department. Copy of a letter reference number DOM/1 2023, dated 24th of October 2023, by Mrs. Dunstan Omari and Associates Advocates, addressed to the Speaker of the County Assembly of Meru. 9. Copies of newspaper advertisement appearing on the Standard and Daily Nation of Wednesday, 18th of October 2023, and copies of invoices for radio advertisement in Muya FM, calling for submission of memoranda on the notice of motion for the proposed removal from office of the Governor of Meru County. 10. A HP flash disk, 2 GB, containing video annexures evidencing the particulars alleged in the motion, as well as a voice advertisement on the public participation on the motion run on Meru FM and approved notice of motion and exhibits. 11. Copy of public participation report dated 25th of October 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly on Wednesday, 25th October 2023. 12 copies of written memoranda, both in support and against the impeachment from different sub-counties and regions, submitted to the County Assembly during the public participation exercise on the motion. And lastly, a booklet of the 3rd edition of the County Assembly of Meru Standing Orders. Now, Honorable Senators, in terms of Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33(3)(a) of the County Governments Act, and Standing Orders 81(a) of the Senate Standing Orders, the Speaker of the Senate is required within 7 days after receiving notice of the resolution from the Speaker of the County Assembly to convene a meeting of the Senate to hear charges against the Governor. Pursuant to Section 33(3)(b) of the County Governments Act and Standing Order 81(a) of the Senate Standing Orders, I hereby proceed to read the charges against the Governor of Meru County as contained in the motion of impeachment by the County Assembly of Meru. Senator, kindly take a seat. Charge number 1, misappropriation and misuse of county resources. The particulars of this allegation are that the Governor, 1, embezzled county funds through the Governor's relatives, 2, withdrew county funds through false claims of payment for supplies and services rendered by the Governor's relatives despite being ineligible to tender for or supply goods to the county government. 3, paid full salaries and benefits for over a year to 4 high-ranking county officials, despite their not rendering any services to the county. And 4, diverted and misused county resources, including funds and motor vehicles, to support the Governor's private charity, dubbed Okelea, despite previous promises to keep county operations and Okelea operations separate. Charge number 2, nepotism and related unethical practices. The particulars of this allegation are that the Governor, 1, fraudulently represented unqualified relatives as technical team for medical equipment inspection in China. 2, employed 1, Edwin Mutuma Murangiri and nephew to her husband in key county positions. And 3, designated her brother-in-law, Nefat Kinyua, as Director of External Linkages without transparent and competitive recruitment. And lastly, assigned diplomatic duties with engagement with foreign diplomats and dignitaries to unqualified relatives. Charge number 3, bullying, vilification, and demeaning other leaders. The particulars of this allegation are that the governor, 1, excluded the deputy governor from county executive committee meetings and other official functions. 2, engaged in bullying and posted demeaning messages about the deputy governor in WhatsApp groups known as Third Government 012 and County Admin Services, whose membership includes several officers who are subordinate to the deputy governor. 3, encouraged and condoned insubordination and the making of insulting and demeaning public utterances by subordinate staff against the deputy governor and other elected leaders. 4, encouraged and condoned the removal of the deputy governor by junior officers from official county WhatsApp forums. Arbitrarily suspended, dismissed, withdrew, and frustrated staff of the office of the deputy governor. Illegally, irregularly, and fraudulently hounded the deputy governor's staff out of office by purporting to accept their non-existent resignations. Arbitrarily reduced, suspended, and withdrew budgetary facilitations for legitimate operations of the deputy governor's office. Threatened to inflict bodily harm against the deputy governor orally and in a WhatsApp chat. Forcefully broke into and ransacked the deputy governor's office. 10, changed the locks to the said office. 11, arbitrarily relocated the deputy governor's office. 12, arbitrarily withdrew security from the deputy governor's residence. 13, persistently made demeaning public utterances against other elected leaders, despite the same issue featuring prominently in previous impeachment proceedings. 14, made insightful, insulting, and demeaning remarks against other leaders by falsely accusing them of cartelism at a presidential Thanksgiving service held in Lare, despite the issue arising in previous impeachment proceedings. And lastly, encouraged, connived, and condoned her husband's insulting and demeaning public utterances and musical performances against other elected leaders, despite the issue arising in previous impeachment proceedings. Charge number 4, illegal appointments and usurpation of statutory powers. The particulars of this allegation are that the governor did the following. 1, appointed Kenneth Mwiti Riungu as chief officer without county assembly approval. 2, sent Dr. Nitoiti, CEO of the County Revenue Board, Paul Mwaki, CEO of Liquor Board, Kenneth Kimanthi Mbaye, Managing Director of Meru Microfinance Corporation, and Joseph Kithure Mberia, CEO, Meru County Water and Sanitation Services, on indefinite compulsory leave with full salary and benefits in usurpation of powers of the appointing authorities. 3, deployed other persons to perform the functions of those sent on compulsory leave in breach of a court order. 4, appointed unqualified persons as acting chief officers without the requisite competitive recruitment and recommendation from the County Public Service Board. 5, recruited traffic marshals without involving the County Public Service Board, disregarding the criteria for establishing county officers. 6, usurped the powers of the County Public Service Board by creating traffic marshal offices. 7, employed an excessive workforce of over 100 personnel staff in the governor's office. 8, designated and paid various cleaners as senior support staff, despite already having 16 support staff. And lastly, appointed 4 individuals to hold county offices in an acting capacity for more than 6 months without proper authorization. Charge number 5, contempt of court. The particulars of this allegation are that the governor did the following. 1, grossly violated Article 10 and 73 of the Constitution. 2, 2, Section 7, grossly violated Section 7 of the Leadership and Integrity Act and Section 10 of the Public Officers Ethics Act by engaging in a contemptuous, stubborn refusal to obey lawful court orders. Charge number 6, illegally naming a public road after her husband. The particulars of this allegation are that the governor did the following. 1, grossly violated Articles 10 and 73 of the Constitution and Section 7 and 11(1)(c) of the Meru County Honors and Awards Act 2018 by naming a public road after her husband without following the applicable statutory procedures. Charge number 7, contempt of the Assembly. The particulars of this allegation are that the governor did the following. 1, refused to honor summons from the County Assembly's Sectoral Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Cohesion to answer questions related to the impeachment motion. 2, directed her Chief of Staff to send a contemptuous letter to the Assembly in response to the summons for her to appear before the Sectoral Committee. And 3, through the CC Finance and the County Secretary, refused to furnish documents to the Assembly on the grounds that an audit process was underway and that the matters raised by the Assembly were sub judice. Now, honorable senators, in terms of the way forward, following the reading of the charges against the governor, Standing Order 81B of the Senate Standing Orders, as read together with Section 33, subsection 3B of the County Governments Act, gives the Senate 2 options on how to proceed with the matter. The Senate may, by resolution, appoint a special committee comprising 11 of its members to investigate the matter or investigate the matter in plenary. At an appointed time during this sitting, a notice of motion for the establishment of a special committee shall be given. Should this motion be carried, the special committee will be required under Section 33(4) of the County Governments Act and Standing Order 82 of the Senate to investigate the matter and to report to the Senate on whether it finds the particulars of allegations against the governor to have been substantiated. In the event that the motion for the establishment of a special committee does not pass, the fallback position is that the Senate shall proceed to investigate and consider the matter in plenary. In this event, I will appoint the dates on which the Senate will sit in plenary to hear and determine the charges against the governor. Honorable senators, it is noteworthy, and I wish to emphasize to all honorable senators, that when we come to the debate on the motion for the establishment of the special committee, debate on the motion shall be limited to the substance of the motion, principally whether or not to establish a special committee. It will not be a debate on the substance of the impeachment or its merits, propriety, prudence, or even the constitutionality or the legality of the process that have been preceded the submission of this matter to the Senate. It is therefore not permissible to deviate to any matters other than the motion before the Senate. In the meantime, and during the course of the impeachment process in the Senate, I wish to caution honorable senators to desist from publicly commenting on the merits or demerits of the impeachment motion before the Senate. Doing so would amount to anticipation of debate, which is an infringement of Standing Order 99. Therefore, it shall be out of order within the meaning of Standing Order 122 for any senator to make comments, whether written or spoken, in relation to the conduct of the governor or the impeachment process, which is outside the confines of the impeachment proceedings, as such comments may prejudice the just outcome of the process. Now, honorable senators, this is the third impeachment hearing in the 13th Parliament, and the second one involving the governor in question. In undertaking this mandate, the Senate will be sitting as a quasi-judicial body and will conduct investigations into the alleged infractions of the Constitution and the law, and thereafter make its determination on the matter. As such, it is a reminder that the impeachment hearing is not just a procedural formality, but a fundamental process that plays a crucial role in upholding the principles of democracy and good governance. This hearing is one of the most crucial oversight tools and singular roles of the Senate. I conclude by urging honorable senators to exercise the highest level of responsibility on this particular matter. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
The Chairperson Standing Committee on Roads, Transport and Housing. Senator Karungo. Senator, I just called the Chairperson Standing Committee on Roads, Transport and Housing, Labor and Social Welfare to present a report. Are you ready with your report, Senator?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following petition report on the table of the Senate today, 31st October 2023. Report of the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing on a petition to the Senate by Mr. Nikki Muoko Mwancha regarding the construction of a pedestrian bridge at Chiromo along Waiyaki Way in Nairobi City County. Mr. Speaker, the petition regarding the construction of a pedestrian bridge at Chiromo, Nairobi, was presented on 19th April 2023 and committed to the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation and Housing for consideration. Mr. Speaker, sir, this petition was presented by Mr. Nikki Mwancha, whose prayer was that a pedestrian bridge be constructed at Chiromo area, Nairobi. In the consideration of the petition, Mr. Speaker, the committee engaged the Ministry of Roads and Transport, which committed to construct pedestrian bridges at 5 points along Waiyaki Way. Mr. Speaker, sir, whereas the Ministry of Roads and Transport was not committed on the timelines when the construction of the pedestrian bridges would commence, the committee has proposed implementation of milestone that will hasten the process of committee of budget for construction of the pedestrian bridges. The committee, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Order, honorable senators. Kindly take your seats and may the senator be heard in silence. Senator Gloria. Senator Omtata.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The committee has also made recommendation in this report for implementation of short-term speed control measures to ensure pedestrian safety when crossing the highway. As I conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee did not meet the petitioner, and I underline, we did not meet the petitioner because it was difficult to reach him, because at the time of submitting the petition, he never left his email, his telephone number, or any contact, Mr. Speaker. And as such, the committee has proposed an amendment to the standing orders of the Senate to provide as a condition of admitting petitions that petitioners should provide their telephone contacts, email addresses, so as to enhance communication between the House and the petitioners, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we never called that petition a ghost petition. Despite not reaching the petitioner, we worked diligently, and the department has committed to construct 5 pedestrian crossing bridges along Waiyaki Way. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
The Chairperson Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations, Senator Abbas. And Majority Leader, you are consulting rather loudly. Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following petitions report on the table of the Senate today, 31st October 2023. Report of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations, and petitions to the Senate by the Julius Warugu Wanjohi concerning the lack of implementation of the resolution to absorb contracted instructors under the Economic Stimulus Program by the County Government of Nyeri. Honorable Speaker, on 11th May 2023, the Senate received a petition from Julius Warugu Wanjohi concerning the lack of implementation of a resolution to absorb the contracted instructors under the Economic Stimulus Plan by the County Government of Nyeri. The petition was presented in the Senate on Wednesday, 24th May 2023, to the Deputy Speaker, by the Deputy Speaker, Senator Kaduri Murungi, MP, pursuant to Standing Order 223(1)A of the Senate Standing Orders. Consequently, the petition stood committed to the Committee of pursuant to Standing Order 238(1) of the Standing Order of the Senate Standing Order. Honorable Speaker, the issue raised in the petition was that in July 1989, the petitioner was employed by the...
Order, honorable senators. May the senator be heard in silence, please. Senator Mundegi and my deputy speaker.
The petitioner was employed by the Ministry of Education as a carpentry instructor 2 and posted to Kagudu Youth Polytechnic in Nyeri. Following the Constitution of 2010, the advent of devolution, the youth polytechnic training functions was subsequently transferred to the county government pursuant to the 4th schedule of this Constitution of 2010. As a result, all the staff who were in the counties in the 4th schedule, and performing devolved functions were deemed to continue providing services. In addition, on 2nd December 2014, a consultative meeting was held between the Ministry of Devolution and the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology and the Transition Authority to address the numerous issues that were facing the transition of youth polytechnics. The meeting resolved, among others, that the contracts of the instructors under the Economic Stimulus Plan to be extended to up to 30th June 2015, and thereafter the instructors be absorbed by the county governments on permanent and pensionable terms. The county governments were required to make budgetary provisions to pay the staff following the passage of the County Allocation Revenue Act. Further, the Transition Authority communicated the resolution to the county government for implementation, and thereby several counties implemented the resolution except the county of Nyeri. Mr. Speaker, sir, the petitioner's prayers were the Senate to look into the matter with a view of ensuring that amicable solutions into the issues raised in the petition, as well as make any other relevant recommendations in these considerations of petition. The committee thereafter proceeded to consider the petition extensively and the submission received thereon. Honorable Speaker, it is noted that the Governor of Nyeri, Honorable Mutai Kaiga, being a key respondent to the issue raised, the petition was invited and actually appeared before the committee, together with other officials from the county, where he made submissions on the issue raised in the petition. The petitioners were also present in the meeting that was held on Monday, 31st July 2023. Upon deliberation on the submission, the committee resolved that They will give 21 days for the county government to attempt to resolve the matter at the county level and report back their decision to the committee. The committee received the written response on 24th August 2023. Upon consideration of the response, the committee made various observations, recommendations, which are set in Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 of this report, respectively. Honorable Speaker, the subject matter the committee recommended on the petition as follows. The subject matter in the petition was canvassed in court, where the suit was dismissed. The petitioners failed to follow through with the bill. Further, prior to the hearing of the case number 264 of 2017, Joseph Kitonga Washira and 41 others versus the county government and 2 others that resulted to mediation efforts being made between the parties who included the petitioners. Nyeri County Government and the Nyeri County Public Service Board had failed. The committee therefore finds that the petitioners had not exhausted the court process to address their grievances. The committee therefore finds prayers of the petitioners to the Senate not merited. However, the petitioners may consider further engaging with the Nyeri County Government and the Nyeri County Public Service Board through alternative dispute resolutions mechanism to conclusively deal with the matter. The Intergovernmental Relations, who took over the functions of the Transitional Authority, Council of Governors, and the Public Service Board, National Consultative Forum, should engage with a view of determining the resolving the issues of the status of the grant instructors. A report on the resolution should be submitted to the Senate within 90 days upon the adoption of this report. The Intergovernmental Relations and the Council of Governors shall submit a report to the Senate on the employment of the status of the employees seconded to the government, the county government, on the onset of devolution. Among them is the early childhood development education, that's ECD, teachers, technical and vocational education and training teachers, community health volunteers, among others. 4, the Intergovernmental Relations should conduct an audit on the status of the transfer of functions and the 4th schedule of the Constitution and submit a report to the committee. This should highlight the status of the youth polytechnic functions, which is the main issue in the petition, hence guiding on the measures to be taken, resolved, and the other related issues. Honorable Speaker, I also wish to thank the officers of the Speaker, may I take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to commend the members of the committee for their devotion. I also wish to thank the office of the Speaker and the clerk for the support. Mr. Speaker, therefore, my pleasant duty, I present to Standing Order 2284 to present the report. It is therefore my pleasant duty, pursuant to Standing Order 228, 4A, to present the report of the Standing Committee on Devolution, Intergovernmental Relations, on its considerations petition concerning the lack of implementation of resolution to observe the contracted instructors under the Economic Stimulus Plan by the county government. I beg to lay.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following petition report on the table of the Senate today, 31st of October 2023. Report of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on a petition to the Senate by Benson Nyaga Kagete concerning the recognition and remuneration of village elders under the Nyumba Kumi initiative. Mr. Speaker, the petition by Benson Nyaga was presented to the Senate on 21st June 2023, following which it was committed to the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations for consideration. Pursuant to Standing Order.
Senator Karungo and team.
Pursuant to Standing Order 238.1, Mr. Speaker, the committee was required to respond to the petitioner by way of a report addressed to the petitioner and laid on the table of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, the major issues raised in the petition were as follows. One, village elders play an integral role in the functioning of the national government at village level by helping chiefs and assistant chiefs in the maintenance of law and order, promoting of education and promotion of development through the Nyumba Kumi initiative. Two, these officers discharge these important roles without any remuneration by the government. Hence, they are not motivated. Number three, there was no law, or there is no law regulating or guiding the observation of employment of the village elders into the existing governance structure. In particular, the National Government Coordination Act, number 1 of 2013, does not define a village as the lowest administrative unit after a sublocation. Number 5, Mr. Speaker, there is need to put in place criteria for the establishment of a village considering the population, geographical, and subcultural factors. Mr. Speaker, in light of the above, the petitioner praised that Senate A, amends the National Government Coordination Act, number 1 of 2013, to provide for the village as the lowest administrative unit after sublocation and establishment of a village council. 2, cause the Ministry of Interior and National Administration to develop a comprehensive policy and recruitment and remuneration of the village elders, and in particular, a policy to cover the terms of engagement, functions of the village elders, criteria for recruitment and termination of engagement. And thirdly, Mr. Speaker, make any other order that deems fit in the circumstances in the petition. Mr. Speaker, in considering the petition, the committee first met with the petitioner to better understand the issues raised in the petition and the remedies that he sought from the committee and the Senate. The committee subsequently held meetings with the Council of Governors, Mr. Joseph Kaguthi, EBS, former chairman of the Nyumba Kumi Initiative Task Force, the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior, and to deliberate on and receive submissions on the petition. These are summarized, Mr. Speaker, in Chapter 2 of the report, which we have tabled today. The committee made the following observations, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude. The committee observed that there was a misconstruction of village elders and Nyumba Kumi officials by the petitioner. Whereas the village elders have been playing critical role at the local level, Nyumba Kumi officials were introduced with the introduction of the Nyumba Kumi initiative as a model for community policing. Nyumba Kumi officials are elected from its membership and range from women, youth, and elders. There exists an adequate legal framework on the establishment of village elders in a decentralized of the county governments, the establishment of the village councils and remuneration of village elders under Section 48, 52, 53, and 54 of the County Government Act, number 17 of 2012. The committee observed that in a majority of the counties, a ward is divided into 2, 3, and 4 village units. Further, Section 52 and 53 of the County Government Act, number 17 of 2012, provide for the establishment of the office of the village administrator and village councils comprising of not less than 3 and not more than 5 village elders for the coordination and management of general administration functions in the villages. Section 53, subsection 4, Mr. Speaker, provided that the elders shall be paid allowances and shall be determined by the respective county assemblies. And that's a very important point, Mr. Speaker. And Section 41 of the National Police Service Act of 2011, which establishes the County Policing Authority, is yet to be erected by the counties. So far, no county has an existing county policing authority whose function is to provide a platform through which the public participates on all the aspects of relating to county policing and ensuring policing accountability to the public and receiving reports from community policing forums and committees. Mr. Speaker, the committee further observes that the National Government Coordination Act Bill, the National Government Coordination Amendment Bill, Bill number 13 of 2023, sponsored by Honorable Moses Malulu, MP, was read a first time in the National Assembly on 7th of June 2023. And the bill, Mr. Speaker, was developed to amend the National Coordination Act to recognize the village elders who performs national government functions, seek to take cognizance of existing village units and provide for establishment of village councils and appointment of village elders, as well as payment of allowances. And further proposes that village elders, village units should have village councils headed by a village administrator working with the village elders. Mr. Speaker, in light of the observations made, the committee therefore recommends as follows. 1, that the National Government Coordination Act number 1 of 2013 and the County Government Act number 17 of 2012 be reviewed and amended in order to ensure harmonization in the establishment, structure, and functions of the village elders at both the county and the national levels. Recommendation number 2, Mr. Speaker, is that in order to fully realize the gains of community policing initiatives at the county level, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration shall implement the provisions of Section 41 of the National Police Service Act, number 11A of 2011, through the establishment of the county policing authorities at the county levels and provide a status report to the Senate within 6 months from the date of this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 6, notices of motion. So order number 5, papers.
The majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 31st October 2023. 1, the 17th edition of the biannual report on the status of the alcohol drug abuse control in Kenya. 2, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Iten County Referral Hospital, County Government of Elgeyo Marakwet for the year ended 30th June 2022. 3, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Kapsabet County Referral Hospital, County Government of Nandi for the year ended 30th June 2022. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Karutu Level 4 Hospital, County Government of Kiambu for the year ended 30 June 2022. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Kinango Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Kwale for the year ended 30 June 2022. Lastly, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Karatina Sub-County Hospital, County Government of Nyeri for the year ended 30 June 2023. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget. The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights.
When you hear the allegation that have been read by yourself, Mr. Speaker, the only way to be able to give both the people of Meru and the governor, who is now on trial at this chamber, an opportunity to be able to get justice is by allowing a committee to be able to sit down and go through all those documents. A committee, Mr. Speaker, will also get an opportunity to be able to invite the controller of budget, where the allegation of misappropriation, Mr. Speaker, so that they can be able to look at the substance of the matter. Mr. Speaker, when you...
What is the point of order, Senator Chiranke?
Mr. Speaker, I refer to your earlier ruling and direction that you give that in the debate and moving of the motion of such nature, the form, substance should not be referred at any given point. And Mr. Speaker, can you rule the mover of the motion, Senate Minority Whip, to be totally out of order by trying to engage on the form, substance, and the process, even invoking that control of budget will be invited, the documentation. I thought, Mr. Speaker, you guided Solomonically through the wisdom of Solomon by saying that it is only the procedure and the process. Could it be called out of order, Mr. Speaker, sir? Thank you.
Honorable Minority Whip, just confine your moving speech as you move this motion to the merits of having a special committee as opposed to the plenary. Just convince your colleagues
Thank you, Mr.
why you feel a special committee
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr.
is more
Speaker,
effective compared
Mr.
to a
Speaker,
plenary.
the Hansard will bear me witness. I will not stand here and assume to know the merits and demerits of the charges of the impeachment. Mr. Speaker, what I referred to is solely what you read as the charges. And the only way that I'm trying to persuade my colleagues is to be able to think critically about the position that they'll be given in this House to analyze the evidence which shall be induced in this House by the Assembly as well as by the county governor who is now being accused here. Mr. Speaker, I have demonstrated clearly, and this is why I want to plead with my brother, particularly Senator from Nandi, because we have sat in this chamber together. We have looked at documents and documents. We have played some videos here. Sometimes they don't play very well. When we were impeaching other governors, if you compare apples to apples, Mr. Speaker, you will find that the only time you can be able to give justice to an impeachment process is when distinguished men and women, 9 of them, 11 of them, who have been proposed, who we are proposing today, sit down, go through the evidence so that, even though this is a political process, Mr. Speaker, you clearly indicated, and this is as per Article 125 of the Constitution of Kenya, that whenever we sit, we have the same powers as the High Court. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to persuade this House, both sides of the divide, to consider giving these 11 distinguished senators an opportunity to go through the evidence. Mr. Speaker, I note clearly. Now, what is the point of order?
Proceed and conclude, Senator. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I note clearly that the majority side proposed the members who sat on the previous committee. There is logic there, Mr. Speaker, because they got an opportunity to go through the evidence which were adduced by the Assembly when they were impeaching the governor. Mr. Speaker, I see wisdom there. I know, Mr. Speaker, that during the impeachment of Governor Wambora, the Senate of the Republic of Kenya had a committee of 11. And when the governor was brought back here...
Order, honorable senators. Let us make progress. Proceed, Senator Ledama. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When, Mr. Speaker, please protect me from...
Senator, you're fully protected. Can
Thank
you proceed,
Mr. Speaker.
please?
Mr. Speaker, I would wish that my brother would be able to go and take the handset of this House, because what I'm saying is factual. When Senator Boni Halwale, and I'm very happy to see him being proposed here to sit in this committee, and trust me, Mr. Speaker, this House will decide. And the beauty of this process going through a committee is because the Senate will be given a second chance, to be able to have a bite on the cherry, Mr. Speaker. Because the moment it goes to the committee, it will also be
Honorable senators, order.
You
will make those points when you're debating.
I'm solely moving.
Proceed.
And I want to convince you.
Reserve your comments to the contribution.
Mr. Speaker, the beauty of me moving is that you have the liberty of saying yes or no. You can actually be able to say, I do not support the committee way,
proceed,
which will be the proper. So, Mr. Speaker, for me to be able to make out my case, I want to persuade senators. You represent 47 counties. You serve in committees. When you sit in these committees, most of the time you go through volumes of documents to be able to interrogate governors. If you do not take the time to be able to look at the evidence properly, you will be doing this House a disservice. Mr. Speaker, I sat on this same chair when we were removing Governor Mike Mbovi Songo. And on that particular day, Mr. Speaker, the senators did not even have a chance to interrogate the governor who was being removed. The two lawyers made their cases there, and then after that, we went on camera. After going on camera, we came back in and we voted. I want to beseech these members, honorable members who are here. I'm not discussing on the merits or demerits of the case. All I'm saying is that I'd like to persuade you to consider giving these 11, Mr. Speaker, can you please protect me from the back and forth shouts?
Senator
Cherargei.
You only speak through the chair, so don't engage your colleague directly.
Mr. Speaker, I think we're all grown up.
Just proceed, Senator Ledama.
So, Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with you that ultimately the 47 delegations will make their choice. They will decide whether to impeach, to confirm the impeachment of the governor, or whether to give the governor another second chance to continue. The only thing that I want to persuade you today is that for the history of this nation, and also for the importance of this House, whenever you point a finger, remember there is a finger which is pointing right back at you. And the impeachment process is a very painful process to go through. And it is important for us to know the consequences and also the unintended consequences. I don't really care how anyone votes. I think all of us will vote based on their own conscience. What I care is on the process of coming up to that vote. And this is why I want to persuade you that a committee will be able to give you and yourself and myself an opportunity to read a report that 11 distinguished members of this House would have already carried out an investigation on. They'll be able to tell you whether those charges have been substantiated or they have not been substantiated. Number two, Mr. Speaker, anything we do in this House goes on record. I'm very happy to propose the committee way because of two reasons, so that I can be able to request my distinguished Senator Asigi to second. When we go through the committee, it will not be sitting here and listening to two lawyers. It will be our colleagues telling us that we went through the documentation and we found A, B, C, and D. And based on this, these are our observations and these are our recommendations. That is issue number one. Number two, Mr. Speaker, it will also give us an opportunity to be able to show Kenyans and the world who are watching that the Senate, even though it is not a court of law, can be able to carry out the functions. Please, let me finish, and then you can call your point of orders.
Senator Chirenge, what is your point of order? The very last point of order on this matter.
Mr. Speaker, I hope it's not the last for the day. I have several. Mr. Speaker, under Standing Order 105 of the Standing Orders and Standing Order 80, is it in order for Senator Ledama Olekina, the mover of motion, to mislead us and the public that when it goes to special committee, it is the only time the feedback is only through our members, yet he knows very well as a senior ranking member that when a governor appears through plenary, he or she has an option of either representing herself or himself or through legal representatives, Mr. Speaker. Is it in order to mislead the country that the only point, as per Standing 105, Mr. Speaker? No, stop pointing at me. We are not in somewhere maandamano, my friend.
Senator
Stop
Sifuna.
pointing at me.
Senator Chirenge. Senator Fonandi. No, Senator Sifuna, it is only the chair who determines whether a point of order stands or is overruled. So you've made your point of order. Kindly take your seat.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Take your seat. Senator Ledama, proceed. That does not warrant being called a point of order. Just proceed and conclude.
Mr. Speaker, those are points of annoyance. Because, Mr. Speaker, I am not discussing the merits or demerits of the case. I'm only trying to demonstrate to my colleagues why I'm proposing the committee way. I want to plead with you to listen to me, give me an ear. Ultimately, you will make the decision. Because for me today, having been considering myself as a ranking member of this House, I've sat through maybe 4 or 5 impeachment